You're listening to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
Are you ready to explore the unknown? Dive into the world of the strange, mysterious, and unexplained with Eerie Expeditions magazine. Each issue is packed with spine-tingling tales, cutting-edge paranormal investigations, and exclusive insights into hauntings, cryptids, UFOs, and more. Whether you're a seasoned investigator or just love a good ghost story, Eerie Expeditions magazine has something for you. Join our growing community of truth seekers and adventure lovers. Subscribe today at EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com and unlock the secrets of the supernatural. Are you ready? That's EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com, where the extraordinary is just a click away. Dare to discover.
Welcome to The Gateway, broadcasting live from the edge of the Mojave where the strange slips through the cracks. We are live on United Public Radio Network 107.7 FM, New Orleans. I'm your host this evening, C.L. Thomas. How's everyone doing out there tonight? So tonight I have two historians well-versed in midwinter magic, Dacre Stoker and Nora Vintilă. But before we get into that, Happy New Year's to all out there. Right now you can sign up for the free online copies of Eerie Expeditions magazine. This is something totally new. Eerie Expeditions is coming back. You know, we've taken a break to kind of regroup a little bit, but the magazine is coming back in full force, and it's going to come out every other month starting in 2026 with all new articles and writers. And the online subscription is going to be completely free, but you have to sign up within the next month. So Eerie Expeditions explores the legends and haunted history around the world, places that you can actually travel to and investigate for yourself. For a short time only, you can sign up and receive an online subscription. Check it out, EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com. And now as we turn the page from our sponsor, we step into a world shaped by myth, memory, and midwinter magic. Joining me today is Dacre Stoker, acclaimed author and great-grandnephew of Dracula, creator Bram Stoker, alongside Nora Vintilă, a Romania-based tour guide, an expert in folklore, witchcraft, and traditional winter rituals, including the famed bear dance. Together, they help us explore Romania's living traditions and the stories that still walk among us. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Hi, nice to meet you.
I'm really excited to have you guys on tonight. It's pretty exciting for me because I love Romania. It's one of my favorite countries, and I've been there. I've done a lot there already, and I really look forward to coming back maybe in 2026, hopefully in November. Dacre, you have spent so much time in Romania, and all of your work is practically centered around the country, and you have a business there and everything. Can you kind of talk about how you got planted there?
Yeah, well, I got to blame my great-granduncle Bram Stoker, who, of course, wrote Dracula, as you mentioned in my intro. I've now been digging into all the books that he's used for his research, his notes, and now I've figured out exactly what he used for his resources, even though he didn't go there himself. So now what I'm doing is following up on all those books and those maps that he had access to, and kind of following that trail that he created, looking at the life and times and locations of Vlad Dracula the Impaler, the real historical Vlad Dracula III, and then Count Dracula, where the events of the novel took place. So as I've traveled to those, some with Nora, who you'll meet in a little while, and her sister, some that's with a company called Experience Transylvania, and then others with Maria Schmidt and her people with Mysterious Adventure Tours. I work with those two companies leading tours, and we go and recreate all those kind of spots. And while I've been going there and doing readings from the novel Dracula at exactly the same place where Bram set it, or being guided by Nora to see the place where Vlad Dracula impaled somebody, or where his mistress was, or something like that, we really pick up the vibe and try to transfer that to our clients of what not only what it looks like on paper, but what it feels like in modern day life. And let me tell you something, going to Romania is a step back in time. When I say modern day life, in some places it looks like we're 500 years ago. In some places it's absolutely, super brand new first world country, but there's a little of both and everything in between. It's like a step back in time. So I really began to love that country. And one of the things that I began to love is the food, the folklore, the history, but also the wine. And that's what got me interested in getting involved in the purchase of an old winery with a couple of people that came on one of my tours. And they became investors in buying Michael Rothenberg's vineyard outside of Bucharest in the area of Ceptura. And we now have Stoker Wines, which I'm wearing the vest, you can see. Stoker Wines is now launched. We've got a very cool renovated winery in Ceptura. And it's starting to make its way into different parts of the world. It's now in America, direct to consumer. It's now around Romania, and we've got plans elsewhere. So I'm beginning now to look at this country, not just as a tourist destination and an inspirational place to go and have a cool holiday, but as you mentioned, dealing with the business world, the different levels of bureaucracy you've got to go through with things like alcohol permits and shipping and so on. So it's really enlightening. And I do love the country like you do. And I do really appreciate, as somebody you'll meet in a moment, the really cool insight by locals. And that's Nora and her sister, Gloria.
Now, I've been to your winery and the wine is amazing. Move over California, because this wine it's a red wine and it's very almost like sweet, but not too sweet.
Yeah, we've got a couple of different types of red. I mean, different grapes, the Fatasca Niagara, the Merlot, different grapes that have been brought over years ago from Italy, from Hungary, and we've got a wonderful rosé. But we've also been moving into other areas of Romania where they've got about 5 different wine growing regions, and they grow the white grapes in the north, and ours are the red grapes. So we actually do some trading and bartering. We're about to introduce a white wine also, even though we don't grow the grapes. They're grown just, about 100 miles away, and then we'll be bottling it, much like the tradition of the novel Dracula, the Golden Mediash wine that featured in Dracula, which is a Riesling from the German part of Romania. So there's so many of these mini Napa valleys all over Romania, because this massive mountain range, the Carpathians, affect the weather just like the big Sierras do in California. So microclimates, great soil, wonderful underground aquifers. You're right. The rest of the world is now beginning to take notice of Romanian wines. And one reason why they haven't known about them is communism didn't fall until 1989. And so the wine was not being exported. So it's now beginning to be legally sent out of the country. And it takes a lot of work and usually some capital to get it out of the country. But I'm glad you like the wine. A little plug, stokerwines.ingoodtaste.com. You can order it anywhere in the U.S., out of California, because they've bottled our wine that we've shipped over to them in big bladders, and now it's available direct to consumer, just like you order from Amazon.
And just so people know out there, Bram, the Stoker Wines is also a big sponsor of Erie Expeditions magazine.
There you go. Thank you. Yeah, good plug for both of us. But yeah, thanks. Listen, I'm so glad you're going to come back to the country sometime soon. Nora and I can show you all sorts of cool places.
I am so excited about this. So Romanian folklore. Did Bram Stoker understand this fully, or was he intuitively tapping into something older and mystic that still resonates today?
That's a good question. This is what I believe, having looked at his life, his notes, his journals. There was a somewhat element of intuitiveness, because he found a book by Oscar Wilde's mother that actually said Romanian folklore and superstition is an awful lot like Irish folklore and superstition, and that Madame Gerard has recently written a piece about it. So Bram, being as detailed oriented as he also wrote a legal manual, very orderly. He then went off to the library and found the book by Madame Gerard. She was the Scottish lady who you'll hear about from Nora in a little bit, but she was somebody from Scotland that moved to the town Nora was born in Sibiu and did incredible research over there. And when she was there, she actually wrote an article that made it into the 19th Century Magazine, and then a 2-volume book called Land Beyond the Forest, all about folklore and superstitions, Strigoi, Nosferatu. That's where Bram got his detailed information. So the stuff that he put in Dracula, yes, some of it is fantasy, not much though. A lot of it is based on true locations, true people, and all this folklore. It's all stuff that Gerard handed him on a silver platter. And you'll hear more about that from Nora because she's really done a lot of studying on Gerard herself. So, Uncle Bram wanted to get things right so he could accurately, describe the country, the locations, and of course the superstition of folklore to make Count Dracula feel very realistic.
Nora, I'm going to bring you into the conversation a little bit. First, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm born and raised in Transylvania, Romania. I have a passion for all the known and the unknown, the history, but especially the hidden history of the places. And just as Dacre said, I like to guide myself. So we like to say that at Experience Transylvania, we travel with all our senses and beyond. Because there are some things that you are aware of without going necessarily through the classic sensory receptors of the human body. I am fascinated, as I mentioned, by old myth and folklore, but in particular about the Transylvanian one because, I grew up with it, and it's still very much present in Romania in general.
Now you're practicing Wiccan as well, correct? Yes. And you've made the earrings that you're wearing.
Yes, I am, and I do, and I'm very passionate about that part too, and I think I'm right to say that we have that in common. I got into Wicca quite late in my life, I could say, but I did so because I figured out growing up with 3 religions, basically. So Sunday mornings were fun for me, going to Orthodox Church, Catholic Church, and then Protestant Church, all 3 of them.
All on the same day?
Yeah. Sunday morning. Luckily, they weren't all at the same time, but yeah. So growing up with all that Christianity, I think I rebelled in my university years. And I finally found something that resonated with me. And with, surprisingly or not, a lot of the pagan myths that I grew up with here in Romania.
So Nora, let me just chime in on this because you and I have had spirited conversations with ourselves, with your husband Paul, and also with people in our tour groups. That can you just describe for the listeners in general, sort of the complexion of Romania when it comes to the different religions, where it is based in Europe with all these nearby, very strong religions that influence the Romanian way of life, and when people adhere to these religions, when they don't adhere to religions. So you've got many choices. Just give us a little insight into all that.
Geographically, Romania is located in Eastern Europe. So if you think about Hungary, go even more to the east a little bit, and you're there, basically. And that has caused us to be between 2 giants historically, and not only thinking about the political power or, the Western Empire, which has always been a thing on its own, and the Ottoman Empire. And this also created two religious entities. So the Christian world and the Muslim world was separated basically by a strap of land, which most of that strap of land is nowadays Romania. So the pressure has always been big around these places between the two huge empires. And I'm saying Romania, and perhaps the Bulgarian listeners would say, oh, but Bulgaria was also Christian. Yes, but at some point, most of the Bulgarian population did in one way or another succumb to the Islamic faith. I could go way deeper into that. And if there's people who really want to take me up on this, please you find me on Instagram and on all of the other platforms. But getting back to the religion, Transylvania in particular, we haven't been part of Romania for all that long. It's only been 1918, the year 1918, that Transylvania was attached to the Romanian country. So before that, we were part of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire, which meant Catholicism and which meant Protestantism, the evangelical church. But before that, the Romanian population here already had the Eastern Orthodox religion. I don't know if I think of Christianity as a religion on all these Catholicism, Orthodoxism, etc. I see them as cults within the Christian religion. But there has always been, amongst all the three regions of Romania, which are Moldavia, Wallachia, and Transylvania, the Romanian population over there, regardless of the religion that they had, they always had their own traditions. And of course, just like it happened in many other countries in Europe, if I dare say all of them, these local traditions somehow got intermingled with the Christian faith, regardless if it was Catholicism, Protestantism, etc. It got intermingled with the beliefs and the traditions that had already been there. And in Romania, this is much more powerful. I think the only country that I can compare this to is actually Ireland, with the Celtic beliefs and even the designs and everything intermingled with Christian elements and everything like that. So, and I've lost my train of thought.
That's okay. So right now we have the New Year. And we just passed through winter solstice, and in the Hebrew, all three Hebrew religions is considered the New Year that had just passed. Is this considered a powerful liminal time in traditional beliefs?
Absolutely. So it's a crescent. So we have so many holidays, days of saints, and even traditional events like Focului Sumedru's fire, which is still celebrated in the south of Romania and in some locations in Transylvania as well, which is central western part of Romania. That happens on October 26th, and that's actually when the chores of the field were done and people were starting to revere the year that had passed and to welcome in the darkness of the winter months. So my personal opinion is that this holiday, Sumedru's fire, which is celebrated with fires on top of hills outside the villages. They used to make little figurines or balls of hay or all sorts of materials and just light them up to symbolize, the light in the dark and the beginning of the dark season. And then going through November, we have like we talked a little earlier, like most cultures have the Day of the Dead, which is here in Romania, November 1st. Then we have the night of Saint Andrew, which is also a very, very important, and then this one actually comes from way before Christianity, comes from the Dacian people that used to occupy the territories here in Romania before the Roman takeover. So we're talking over 2,000 years ago. Actually, Saint Andrew is on the 30th of November. So 30th of November came even before the Day of the Dead, which is November 1st, which is, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
which is November
1st. Yeah, that's one of the coolest days.
In itself.
Let me just chime in because I've been lucky enough to see that. And I know, Crystal, we're talking winter solstice, but you got to go back about a month or so.
But November's my favorite time of year to go there. So
you got to see this. We were driving along in one of our tours, and I really wasn't aware. Nora has prepped us. You guys are going to see something pretty cool soon. And it was dusk, and there's this valley off to the right, and trees and big mountains up beyond. But there was this glow as we got close, and the tradition was families would go to the gravesite of their departed loved ones and clean the gravestones, take away the weeds, but they would put in really cool candles, usually in some kind of a jar, usually red or some battery operated or red, and it would make this red glow. But when you've got, and I'm not just saying a few, thousands of them, the whole valley was this red glow. So it's almost like you can go in and visit the spirits, which is obviously what they're doing, the memories of those departed. So Nora, just touch a little bit on that. I know you've got a lot to talk about, but that's one of the most visual things for somebody who is not from the country, that gets an idea of what everybody is, what they're doing and why they're so closely connected to spiritualism.
That's on November the 1st. It's just like Dacre said, it's absolutely magical. One of my favorite things to see, and it just sparks some hope inside me. The traditional candles that we have here are put in a sort of a plastic jar, which is red. And just like Dacre said, if you got 1,000 of those, because people do go, like, it's a shame. It's people are going to talk about you in the town if you don't go, if they don't see you there. Oh, was that family there? Oh, I didn't see them,
Does the color red symbolize anything in particular?
I don't think so. Not in particular. It's just these candles that are very practical, and that because the thing is, the idea is the candle has to live through the night. So it has to be in something protected. You can't just leave it there because the wind will blow it off. So the most popular candle jars that we have are in these red plastic containers. Although it would be a fun idea to go a little bit deeper into that and to see if
I bet it means something in particular, that maybe it's gotten forgotten over time or something. But
the color red in general is against the evil eye. Sorry, Dacre.
No, I mean, maybe there's, it's the color of the blood, of the heart, the love, the connection, maybe the evil eye.
Generally in Romanian folklore and traditions, if you wear the color red, you're protected from the evil eye, the deoch. So that my grandma used to say that even if it's your underwear, you have to have something red on you all the time.
That's interesting, because there's so many cultures that are against the color red here in the States. In particular, the Mormons are one of them. They don't like the color red. They're not allowed to
even for the babies. So you're gonna see a 1-day-old baby, and they put a little red string against the evil eye on their wrist.
Interesting. Well, the Romanian cemeteries in particular, I've never seen cemeteries like this. You go into a place like that, they're all colorful. They have all of this flowers and things painted on the tombstones. They're actually a really magical place anyway, without even the ceremonies going on.
Nora, what's the place in the South that has, is it called the Happy Cemetery? Because they're not all.
The Happy Cemetery, it's right in the, where we call that the place where you put the map on the wall in the because it's way up north, very nearby to the Ukrainian border, and it's the Mary Cemetery. Yeah,
the Mary.
It's
that's right. Yeah.
It's a newer tradition. I'm talking about the 1900s. But of course, I couldn't help it. I researched it. And the tradition actually comes from the Dacians, who used to laugh at the face of death because they were going to go to the promised place, the Summerland, and meet with Zamolxis, with the god. So that was also a connection that I can make with Ireland and with the Celts, that Romanians laugh at the face of death. Or the ancient Dacians, that was the reaction when they knew, even in battle, that they were dying. The fact that secured their place up in the heavens was they had to laugh.
Spiritualists kind of do that in a way, I guess.
Yeah.
So, okay. There is a tradition around New Year's in Romania that I haven't seen anywhere else in the world, and that's where the bear dance. And this is for listeners out there. They will parade around in costumes made of bear skins and things like this. And to some who have never seen something like this, it can be kind of scary looking. What is it meant?
It's intended to.
What does this mean spiritually? Is it to protect, to cleanse, to transform the community somehow? What does it mean, and why is this practiced during the New Year's?
All of the above. So the tradition of the New Year's dance. So actually, this happens anytime between now, what is it, December 18th, but even 1 week before that. We still have that going on, by the way. But this tradition of the bear around New Year's comes actually also from the ancient Dacians and their pagan beliefs. In Romania, we have a huge population of bears, even nowadays, brown bears. And this was their go-to animal for this time of the year. Let me try and help you wrap your head around this. The main reason why they did the dance, regardless if it were what animal it was, because we have also the capra, which is the goat. Back in the day, they used to do horses, or it had to be quite a larger animal. You can't do it with the chicken because, first of all, it's not big enough, it's not scary. They did this dance to scare away the evil spirits, and to welcome the new year, and all the strigaturi, the yelling, the words that they say during this bear dance. They're meant to scare away the evil spirits, let go of the past, let go of the past year, and welcome the light and the new year that was coming in now. You ask me, why the bear? Well, besides the fact that there were plenty of them in Romania, the bear is also a symbol for resurrection, because what does a bear do? Hibernates. So it goes out for the winter, so it's dead, per se, not per se, but in a way it's gone, it's dead, it's out of this world, and then it comes back, come spring. So and it's become more and more popular because you can't actually find 8 wolves and take their skins off and everything like that. They're a little bit more dangerous than a bear. But in this time of the year, as the bears are already starting to go towards hibernation, they were a little bit easier to kill. Unfortunately, or not necessarily unfortunately, but traditionally, bear is also hunted for food in Romania. So even nowadays, since the European Union and the new laws, a little bit less, but still a couple of years ago, we were with a group and we had a bear grill.
What does it taste like?
It's tastes like it's gamey. But something did freak me out, and I haven't had it since, even if it was offered to me, because they made a stew. And while they were mixing the pod with everything, they pulled out one of the paws, and it looked exactly like a human hand.
Yeah, that would freak me out too.
I kid you not, like all the muscles that you see in a human hand and the phalange and the fingers. Yeah, that creeped me out a little bit.
That would freak me out too.
So, Crystal, let me just chime in on a little bear story myself. One of the things that Nora's sister Gloria did when I had a family over, I said, look, here's a group from America that want to see more than just Vlad Dracula and Count Dracula. Let's see some, animals. And it's not like you just go to a zoo, but there's a very interesting location, a bear preserve, just outside of where you go to Bran Castle. So one of the great Dracula sites, this wonderfully preserved old castle. This group of people raise money and travel around Europe and rescue bears that were being, either abused in these little carnival shows, chained up, or they're being baited to fight for gambling. And this place would raise money, go around Europe, purchase these bears, and put them in these very, very large enclosures to help socialize them back into the natural environment. So, not to say that, bear killing with permits is not allowed. There is that. It's a very controlled thing in the country. But the country also has great sensitivity to helping these bears, the ones that do get abused in other places, come back to a natural environment. And you go there because they get fed twice a day. There's all this sort of, meat from farms, leftover stuff from slaughterhouses that are brought in. And these trucks come along, and it's unbelievable. These bears come all out of the forest, large enclosure. Trust me, we're very safe. And you see all these bears, really happy for free food. And I asked the guy, I said, how long does it take? He said, it's just like a person in therapy. They're all different. We know every single bear. They have collars with tags, and we've got a pretty good success rate of about 40%. That come to us that we are able to then reintroduce back into nature, but not all of them do, because some of them are just so, so abused or so naturalized that they just can't, they wouldn't be able to find food on their own, depending how long they've been in captivity or somewhere. So again, this is a cool country with great traditions of bears, the dances, and also the ones in the wild. And luckily, I haven't run across one when I've been hiking up in the Culmination National Park to find the location of the original fictional Castle Dracula. They are there, and the guides that we take, actually, Nora and her mother actually even hire mountain rangers that have a gun just in case, and the bear spray just in case. We haven't needed them, but we're in that environment.
Things to look forward to for me, huh?
I can't wait to take you there. You got to see this stuff.
I'm excited about it. So earlier in when we first started the conversation, Dacre, you talked about how once you get out into the rural areas, particularly up into Transylvania by the Carpathian Mountains, you really start to see how it kind of looks like an old world. When I was there, we were at a tiny little pub that served, and I forget the name of that drink that they drink over there. It begins with a P.
It wouldn't be Polinka.
Polinka? Yes. It was a distillery for that. And I was standing outside for some reason. Everybody was inside. I was outside. And there's a little road, like a dirt road right next to this thing. And I saw a cart. I kid you not, a cart drawn by horses going by. And it had a on the back of it, it had a bunch of hay, and on the front of it, it was a woman with one of those headdresses on, and I don't know the name of those, babushka is what we call it here, but I don't know what the real name of it is. And
batik in plain Romanian language.
What is it?
Batik.
Batik.
It comes from French, yeah, batik, like headdress.
But it really looked third world. I don't know where they were going, but they had a pitchfork on the back of it as well, like sticking out of there. And it just looked like something out of the 17th century.
Crystal, one more thing. Did the horse by any chance have these red tassels on its bridle?
It did, yes.
Okay.
Yes. And it was
So
a dog, too.
You've narrowed this down to about 75% of the small, cool villages in Romania. I kid you not. I'll let Nora take over in a moment. But this, to me, is one of the coolest attractions. And I've spent a lot of time mostly in Wallachia and Transylvania, not so much out by the Black Sea area, but up in these mountain ranges, the foothills of the Carpathians, these small Saxon villages. And they all were built very efficiently by the German settlers, the Saxons. Their houses are all sideways to the road. They've got walls, fences next to them for protection to keep their animals in, but also bad guys out, bad animals out. And you'll see these things that I kid you not, it makes you feel like you're walking back 500 years. I sort of giggled when you said, and the dirt road right out inside. Yeah. Because unless you saw cows walking along that road at dusk and everybody opening their doors when the horn blows, because the cows are being signaled by the horn blower to come back from the valley to go into each of their homes, their barn areas. And all the person has to do, the man, the woman, the child, is open the gate. The cows know where to go. It's the most efficient. It's like the cows have Germanic DNA. They're so organized to go back into the right place. But it is also incredibly surreal because you do look like you're going back in time.
It does.
Yes, they have tractors, but they prefer the efficiency of these liter wagons, the horses. It's very simple, but if you've seen these things with 10 feet of hay or straw on top with 3 people from the family with pitchforks and just been loading them up, it's an incredibly simplistic but very efficient way of life. And that's what we like in both the tours I work with, Mysterious Adventure Tours and Experience Transylvania, to show you guys this. Nora and her sister take us to the fortified churches in this area to show us the way of life. We have home visits where we eat meals with the locals. And in some cases, even some of them do make their own palinka or do make their own wine, which makes it fun to enjoy as well.
Well, one of the things that I notice when I go to a place like that, I got to go to one of the villages that you're talking about. And I think it was King Charles, I believe.
Tell him, Nora.
Yes. But
King Charles has a few buildings there, a few houses.
One of the things you notice about these villages when you go into them is you start to see, aside from all of the old world things like the horses and carts and things, but you also see sigils painted all over the walls. They're over the doorways on the houses. And the people, I remember one of the ladies that I talked to out, who was one of the cooks for that evening for us, she was saying that she and her family, they don't go at it after dark at all. They were very superstitious. Can you kind of talk a little bit about, once you get out of the bigger cities, you start seeing more and more of the way people live alongside of the superstitions and legends and things. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I can assure you that even in the cities, there's still a lot of reminiscence of the things that you see in the countryside. Of course, they are much more present in the villages, just like you said. Like, for instance, you said people don't go out after dark. That's one of the things. Or one of the things you must not do is take the garbage out after dark. And especially, because we were talking about New Year traditions, not on New Year's Eve. Whatever you do not take the garbage out after dark. And if it's on New Year's, you're done for. I mean, it's like all the 7 plagues are going to come upon you, and your life's going to end, and your everything. So yes, you were talking about Viskri, and I want to go back just a little bit to Emily Gerard, who was the lady writer who gave Bram Stoker all the information about Transylvania. Because if you read Transylvanian Superstitions, her book on about the superstitions that you find in this part of Romania, I think more than 80% of these superstitions I know still, and I grew up, so I didn't study them or anything. I just grew up with them. Like grandma knew them, mom knew them, everybody in our family knew them. So that's how this information also crosses from the village to the cities. Because even if I was born in a smaller town, I moved to a bigger town and in a city, and these beliefs, they transpire. Did you want to hear some?
Yes,
in particular?
absolutely. Yes.
So this one, the one with not going out after dark, I grew up with that, and being a teenager in Romania gets real tough because of that. Another one would be putting your bag on the floor.
Handbag, your purse.
Your handbag, your purse on the floor, that repels abundance, and you should never do that. One other thing that was very present for me growing up was, if I had a headache, they would do the deok. It's a ritual. I mean, it's a pagan ritual that my very Orthodox grandmother would do all the time when I was feeling sick. Deok is the evil eye. And what you have to do is take a glass of water, box of matches, and start lighting match by match, saying a name, and then dropping it, because you suspect who might have cast the evil eye on you. So you throw the match inside in the water. If it goes down, it's the person who put the evil eye on you. If it floats, then it's not the person who put the evil eye on you. And if they all float, then you don't have the evil eye. Go see a doctor. But after that, but this also, it's so similar to me with all the Wiccan practices and rituals. So after you've done that and you've figured out who it is, usually it's not more than 9. Also an interesting number. Not more than 9 matches you have to do that for, till you find out who put a cast on you. And then you take the glass of water with all the sticks, and you go outside your door and you throw it on the threshold. You pour the water on the threshold, and you say certain things. Să nu fie de ochi, ia blestemul. So it's the wording too. That was every week almost at my house, in my very Christian house. So,
Crystal, could I ask? I want to ask Nora a question I think your listeners will really enjoy, because I've done my research about a Romanian lady who was a professor in California, and she wrote a book about Transylvanian superstitions, and some of them were picked up by Emily Gerard when she wrote the book that Nora's talking about, 1885. And it was about the very complex mourning rituals when someone dies. So obviously death and dying it plays a huge role in religion and superstition and folklore. And one of the things that I've asked Nora is the things that Bram Stoker picked up on in Dracula came from Emily Gerard. Nora, any of those things still practiced to this day? And it was like
all of them.
Yeah, that's what she said. And it was like, okay, Nora, what about the whole reflection in the mirror? Tell Nora, tell them what they do about the reflection. Tell them what you guys do in this day that you can attribute maybe to Gerard picking it up, because she didn't invent it. Yeah. She just picked up what was going on. So let's talk about the mourning rituals, and again, a different element of spiritualism and people, how they practiced it today.
So when somebody passes away, even to this day, all the mirrors and all the reflective surfaces in the house where the person was living have to be covered completely with a veil, with a curtain, whatever. That mirrors are considered a gateway, a portal to the other world, first of all. And second of all, there's the saying, this belief that if the person, the deceased, passes by and sees himself or herself in the reflection, they wouldn't know what's going on, and this will delay their ascension to wherever it is they need to be going. That would be one of the mourning rituals that we still take very, very seriously. Another one, and I think that gave us eventually, through Emily Gerard and through Bram Stoker, that gave us the no reflection of the vampire in the mirror.
No soul.
Thing.
He had no soul.
Yeah, because it was the soul. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to avoid the soul to see itself in the mirror.
And the concept being, we want the soul to rest in peace. And the soul is sort of in flux until it can take care of all its matters, which involves the family doing all the proper mourning rituals. Sometimes, Nora, correct me if I'm wrong, placing coins on the eyes, making it the right thing to do so this person can rest in peace, not come back as a restless soul, as a strigoi or
honestly, even to this day, we take all the precautions. Some of the mortuaries here even do this, just slightly pinching of the heart, just to make sure, just going through with a needle, just making sure. Now it's a corpse basically, so it's non-invasive, I guess.
That's when you get the stake to the heart, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So there are still mortuaries and morgues in Romania that have that as a standard procedure.
That's wow. I don't even know what to say to that. So is it primarily the strigoi that are the evil spirits that everyone is trying to prevent from coming in?
Yeah. And the night of the strigoi, the most dangerous night is the night of Saint Andrew, which is November 30th. And this is when the strigoi come alive and they try to come back home to their houses. Because it's the only familiar, that's what attracts them in the land or in the world of the living. And it said that this is the night of the wolves as well. Very, very deep and very ancient myths and traditions that have been, just like I said earlier, somehow intermingled with the Christian beliefs, and that's why Saint Andrew and not anyone else.
Yeah, and as we know, as I said a little while ago, this was very similar to Ireland. The country that invented Samhain. The Halloween night. Just as you said earlier, the days are getting shorter. It's the difference between the day of light and darkness, and then the veil is lifted so that those spirits that have passed are all about. And the costumes wear, the turnips they carved to scare away the evil spirits. The good things they did evolved into candies when it came to North America to welcome the good spirits, the costumes for the bad spirits. Very, very similar. And I think what happened is my Uncle Bram lived through all the Celtic Irish ones, but read up on all the Romanian, Transylvanian ones, courtesy of Emily Gerard. And as you can hear, in Ireland, Halloween evolved from Samhain when it came to North America. The turnips disappeared, the pumpkins came, the costume's still the same. But Nora is still living through, and it's not just Nora, it's many people like this in Transylvania, is great respect for the dead. The mourning ritual goes on not just one night, 2 nights. There are many revisits over the years to make sure that they've paid the proper respect so those spirits are not restless, they're not malicious, they're not coming back and wreaking havoc. And Bram certainly twisted that a little bit and made them far more evil, gave the fangs. So he collected all those things and almost made a super vampire a vampire soup, so to speak, out of lots of different particles that were around and made it far more evil. So when you go to Romania today, yes, they're looking for Vlad Dracula, Count Dracula. Now they're looking for Emily Gerard and her ideas, because that is the basis for it all.
So
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Nora.
Talking about Emily Gerard, I'm very proud that I was able to bring her back from the dead, even for one day. And I brought back from the dead the person that coined the term Nosferatu, actually, which means the person that came back from the dead. Yeah.
And what did she name her book?
Transylvania Superstitions, or The Land Beyond the Forest?
Yeah, tell them about what Land Beyond the Forest is translated to.
Land Beyond the Forest is Transylvania in Latin.
Transylvania. If you look at the word in Latin, Sylvania is
the forest.
Exactly.
Yeah, beyond the forest.
So this is kind of a question for both of you. What do people misunderstand most about Romanian culture when it's viewed only through the vampire lens, so to speak? And what stories do you think deserve more attention?
Well, I got to go first, Nora, because it's like you
Please.
arrive at the airport.
I was sure you were going to go first.
when you give your passport to the man at passport control, don't say, "Hey, man, where are the vampires at?" Because they don't have a great sense of humor about that. Most customs guys don't have any sense of humor anyway. But it's that you're not going to see bats flying all over the place.
Only in certain places.
Yeah, it's in the right places, but it is a very sophisticated sort of country. Embrace what I think that I love the most is the origin stories, and that is, Bram Stoker found it because it was derived from wonderful old folklore and mythology, and you've just heard that this country has so many different religious influences, historical and cultural influences, the Ottoman Empire, the German, Austrian, Hungarian Empire, the everything coming together in one interesting land. And the reason why the Ottomans had a hard time capturing and taking over Christian Europe was the Carpathian Mountains. Those Carpathian Mountains created lots of small villages. And because of that, isolation helps give rise to lots of folklore and superstition, because they're usually, separated from structured and traditional religion. But it's like a melting pot, and it's a wonderful melting pot that I love about this country, that it seems that everybody seems to get along with all these different religions. It's not like Ireland that was fighting Catholics and Protestants for hundreds of years. They seem to get along well, and everybody respects all these different beliefs and superstitions that they have. That's one reason why I love going there. Yes, it's the origin of Gothic horror in literature, but it's really nothing like it was created. But what I like to embrace is what started it all.
Nora, would you like to add to that?
For me, as a Romanian and working a lot with international guests as a tour guide, I have two things that are always said to me. The first one is, Romania, are vampires real? And I'm like, yeah. Actually, no, there are no vampires in Transylvania. Believe me, I've been living here for the last 300 years. I've never seen a vampire. And the second one is, are you Roma? Or are you Gypsy? And I'm like flattered to hear that, because I do twinkle with a little bit of magic. But that's a misconception because of the similarity in the name, I think, and because we do have a large Roma community living in Romania. So yeah, these are the two things that I always get.
There are I did have Romanian gypsies on this show before in the past. It was 3 ladies, and they like to go to that. There's a pond right outside of the Witch's Pond, right outside.
Yep. I go there too.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that just a little bit? We have a couple of minutes, but this place is fascinating too.
I go there when there's things from rituals that I really need to put in a place where not the best spirits will take care of them. The Witch's Pond is right outside Bucharest, and it's about an hour's drive, maybe from Bucharest, and it is one of the most eerie places that I've been to in Romania. It's got a pretty creepy vibe to it, but we do have other places like the Hoia Baciu forest, which is also some sort of a portal, I'm sure. Other places like castles, yes, also strange vibes and eerie feelings and things like that. But you kind of get why, because all the energy that, hundreds of maybe thousands of years, who knows, and that people have been tortured there or something. But places like the Witch's Pond, Hoia Baciu forest, the ancient Dacian citadels. The Dacians had a very strong connection. So the Dacians built buildings similar to Stonehenge and from that predate Stonehenge, actually. So I think this is a whole subject in itself. The ancient mythology of Romania is very, very interesting as a subject.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming on the show. We are just about out of the time. Do you guys want to talk about how listeners can get in touch with you?
Sure. Yeah, I'll start. So dacrestoker.com is the website, bramstokerestate.com. My wife and I organized. It's got my books, information all about the Stoker family. And then, of course, you can go onto Facebook, Dacre Stoker Author, or Instagram. And you can also look at experience-transylvania.com. That's where I do the tours with Gloria and Nora, or Mysterious Adventures tours with Maria Schmidt. Both those I work with, usually at least one tour a year with them. And of course, you can now go to stokerwines.com. And if you want to taste the nectar of Romania, stokerwines.ingoodtaste.com. Cool starter packs, little tasting packs, as well as the big bottles. So yeah, those are ways to get a hold of me and see what I'm up to.
So since Dacre already mentioned where to find us, experience-transylvania.com, I want to mention also our Instagram account, xTransylvaniax, one word, and I myself am at polyartist_Nora on Instagram. But if you find the Transylvania X, this is the Experience Transylvania Instagram, you can find me from there because I'm present in almost all the posts. So
well, thank you guys again for being on the show, and I'm definitely going to schedule you guys to come back, and I look forward to chatting with you about my return trip to Romania coming up.
Yeah, we got to do that early in the new year, because I think some of the things we've talked about have triggered more thoughts about places where we need to direct you to go see, Crystal. So yes. Thank you all for listening. Thanks for hosting us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Krista.
You've been listening to The Gateway, broadcast from the edge of the Mojave where the strange slips through the cracks, live from United Public Radio Network 107.7 FM, New Orleans. I want to thank my guests, Dacre Stoker, an author and great grand-nephew of Bram Stoker, and Nora Vintilă, Romania-based tour guide and expert in folklore and folk magic, for sharing their insight and stories with us today. If this conversation stirred your curiosity in Romania, I encourage you to explore the myths and into the living traditions that shape Romania's cultural soul. So Romania, it's really not that expensive to visit Romania. It's one of the cheaper places to go throughout Europe. I highly recommend taking a tour with Mysterious Adventures Tours or some other tour that will explore the Carpathian Mountains in Transylvania. It's just an experience that you won't regret. I'm actually planning on going back there late this fall, 2026, late in the fall. I'm going to be over there for probably about 2 or 3 weeks, and I plan to do a lot of filming and interviewing, so stay tuned for that. Thank you for listening to the Gateway Podcast. Special thank you to Joe Montalda. He's the owner of this radio station that you're listening to. If you have enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow traveler or the strange and unexplained, or fellow listener, I should say. I have traveling on the mind. Until next time, stay curious and mind the threshold.